What is going on, Pretender here, back with another Honkai Star video, and today I'm here with some info we do have regarding 3.3 reruns. There was new info posted and now going around the internet for what we potentially will be seeing for the 3.3 rerun characters, and I'm not gonna lie, if this ends up actually being the ones in game, it's going to be quite the update, as I could see one of these at least being very desired to actually be summoned on. So yeah, that's all I want to say. Before I get to the video, drop a like, drop a sub, hit the bell for future videos like this, and let's get straight into it. Of course, starting off with the disclaimer, as I mentioned, this is now info circling the internet. Even though it is reliable, it could be changed in the final game. The absolute best thing you can do is to wait for when the official livestream for 3.3 happens, where they will announce the actual reruns that will be in the 3.3 update on that livestream. And the ones they do announce on that livestream will be the ones we do get in the game when the update does indeed go live. This is reliable info going around, but again, it could be different. So take everything you hear here with a grain of salt. So what we do know about the 3.3 banners is obviously the first half character is going to be Hyacinth, with the second half character being Cypher. We know this since Hyacinth was actually drip marketed first and Cypher being drip marketed second, and usually the way it always goes is whoever is drip marketed first is the first half character, while the second half character is the one who got drip marketed second, and so that was the order it did come in. Now actually talking about the rerun, so it does seem like this time around we are also not going to be getting a triple rerun. So there will not be a triple rerun format that we already do have right now, as we do currently have the Fugue, Jiaoqiu, and Acheron. It's just going to be one banner and one banner. And for the first half character, so the one that is going to be rerunning with Hyacinth, does seem like it's going to be the Herda, which is crazy considering her official release was literally 3 patches after this update, or I guess during when the update does go live, because she came out in 3.0 first half, now we're going to 3.3 first half, and she's already rerunning. This is tied for one of the fastest in the game, as one of the other fastest was Robin, who released in 2.2 and reran in 2.5 with Feixiao. And then the other one was Fugue, who came out in 2.7 and is already rerunning in 3.2 with the triple rerun right now, actually with Castris. So there is another one to throw onto there, being the Herda. And so I'm going to assume, and probably just going to just guess, that the Herda, if she is the one that goes into the actual game, is going to jump up the summons of that actual first half, because a lot of people probably were iffy about summoning the Herda. Obviously, she still made a bunch of sales because, you know, 1, she's an Emanator. 2, she is one of the best DPS in the game. But the only reason I say is going to have some more is because there definitely was some people skipping her just because she was the start of the M4S update. Maybe a lot of people were more interested in the actual M4S characters, and so they quite literally put the Herda release right before we were getting a whole new cast of characters with the actual M4S cast. Right after her was Aglia, and then past that was just more M4S and more M4S, you know, Tribi into Mide, into now Castris, into now Noxa, and then Hyacinth, and then Cypher, and then probably even more. So I'm sure a lot of people ended up actually skipping her just because they probably wanted to get her, but they couldn't afford to, and they were more interested in, once again, going for the M4S characters. So they opted to summon on her rerun. So to anyone thinking that she may have been gone for a while and you may have something to save while also getting some M4S characters, I'm sorry, it does seem like she's already going to be coming back. And then when it comes to the second half character that's going to be rerunning alongside the Cypher initial banner, is funny enough going to be Aglia. Aglia released in 3.0 as the second half character right after the Herda, and now both of them are rerunning in the same patch for some reason. So in the second half, it would be Aglia. I do know Aglia was actually one of the characters that so many people skipped, because there's a whole thing where so many people are saying skip Aglia for Castris because Castris was just going to be so much better, which, you know, was insane to me to hear, but, you know, this community kind of gets like that a lot. And that also didn't help that once we did get more info on Tribi right after Aglia, Tribi was going to be this all busted beyond belief support, and at E1 became that much more busted. So a lot of people probably thought, okay, let me not get Aglia, let me go for a Tribi E1 instead, which is completely fair. You know, a Tribi on your account is going to have a lot more benefit, unless you already have a bunch of supports and then you need a second DPS for a team. But in most cases, the second Harmony, especially Tribi, is just going to be more value. So I know a lot of people probably ended up skipping her for that reason as well. But I did see and know many people who kept going, yep, we're skipping Aglia because, you know, she's going to be bait. Castris is just going to be her, but so much better. Lo and behold, we're finally with the Castris release. Castris is really good. Aglia is still beyond insane, just broken if you're able to set her up with her best team. She may be a little more costly, but, you know, she was nowhere near as bad as people were doubting her to be. And in my personal opinion, with a better investment, I think she is one of, if not the best team in the game. If you do have the, you know, full thing, you know, that's just my personal opinion. You may think differently, which is completely fair, but to me, I think she is one of the best, if not the best team in the game if you have it fully invested in. As you know, per damage output, absolutely absurd, especially with the amount of speed you can do and the amount of tuning options you have. And so the amount of output you can get with her, and also getting so much speed and getting all that output with that as well, with a bunch of turns, is just absolutely broken. So there's probably going to be a good amount of players that are now going to be summoning for her, just because we do see that even though Castress is now released, she is still broken, especially since now you can actually run them on 2 different teams, while someone like Tribi and RMC is really good with Aglia as well. Now that we know Castress really does not need Sunday like that, you can actually keep Sunday on your Aglia team, so you have another option to do there as well. That was another problem people had, is because we just have one character like Sunday, so we thought Sunday was going to be perfect for Castress before we got all the info. Just because, you know, he was supposed to be the start of that new whole archetype and was going to be the best support for these kind of characters, but for Castress specifically, with the way she recycles her summon, it didn't work out. So you can actually safely keep Sunday with Aglia, so a lot of people are probably going to realize that, so they're probably going to go for her. And then for anyone that did end up summoning for her, or maybe didn't get enough currency so they couldn't get her Lycon, or especially couldn't get how broken of an E1 she has, I'm sure a lot of people that do have her at E0, S0, E0, S1 and will try to get her with the next level, getting her Lycon, or especially getting her E1, because she gets such a drastic improvement with that E1. Any bit of energy issues you had, gone. You unlock more ways to play her as well, such as base speed. You just get so much value out of that E1, and then her Lycon is obviously super broken with the base speed especially it gives, and everything it does provide, and are also kind of lack of remembrance options still. So to anyone that does already have her from the initial banner, that just got one copy or one Lycon, you can finally get that E1 or that S1. So yeah, 3.3 being Hyacinth and then Cypher, and then with the reruns on the first half being the Herda, second half being Aglia, is seeming like a very stacked patch, because again, just like Aglia with getting her dupes, that same thing applies to the Herda. The Herda has a lot more options outside of her signature Lycon because she's Erudition, and we have a great deal of Erudition Lycons, but her signature is still really good to get. Her E1 is bonkers to get too, and then the stuff you can do with her E2 is just absolutely insane as well, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to go for that as well if they already do have her. And then for anyone that doesn't have her, I'm sure a lot of people will pick her up just because she is tied, or if not the best DPS to actually get. Good in every single mode, is constantly getting stuff tailor-made towards her in battles and new game fights. So she just has a lot of value and is seeming to be so strong for a good while longer. And then again, all the stuff she gets from her S1 to her E1 to her E2 especially, unlocking a bunch of things you can do with her. Sure, a lot of people are going to be very interested in that, so she is probably going to see a great deal of sales again, because again, her first banner did so well because of who she was, but now we don't have that whole like dilemma where it's the start of Emporius. We're now like around the midway section, or getting closer to it. Sure, a lot of people will actually allocate more to her, and then the second half, a lot of people realize that Aglia is just absolutely insane and is going to remain that way, now that they also know that their Sunday is safe to stay with her instead of Castress. And then to anyone that does have her, getting that big spike in E1, or also getting her S1. Both of these characters have such good value to actually get if you don't have them, and then they both get such really crazy upgrades with some vertical investment. So regardless if you're someone that doesn't have them or someone that does have them, I'm sure a lot of people, including you potentially watching this right now, is going to be super interested in getting one of those characters. So once again, if these end up being the reruns in that 3.3 update, it's going to be insane. They're already rerunning, it's only 3 updates later, so already insane how fast they will be rerunning, and then there's still just these super powerful units that get so strong with vertical investment as well. So, once again, this is just info circling the internet. Even though it's reliable, take it all with a grain of salt, as it could be different in the final game. Best thing you can do is to wait for when the official stream happens and they announce the reruns on that stream, because that will be the ones in the game. But if this actually ends up being the reruns in the game, and so in 3.3 we get the Herda and Aglia, let me know what you guys think about that. Will you guys be summoning? If you guys already have them, will you be vertically investing as getting their S1s, or maybe their E1s, E2, so on? Let me know in the comments below. Peace out.